Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anime Soirée. Today, we're going to be talking about the Demon Slayer movie, Mugen Train. My name is Griffin. I'm joined today with Will and Kyle. And me and Kyle actually saw the movie in theaters together about a week ago. And I believe Will saw it the week before that. And me and Kyle also believe we saw it in IMAX. Will, did you see it in IMAX?
Jeez, way to flex on me, dude. Jeez. No, I didn't see it in IMAX, but I
Oh,
did see it at an
Also,
Alva Draft House, so I ate a full meal while watching it.
okay.
nice. I bet you had a recliner. Did you?
We didn't.
I think so, yeah. I think
I
Because
would
so.
we
have.
famously didn't have a recliner.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay,
what theater did you go to?
AMC. It was wild.
Wow.
They usually do.
Yeah.
Just
We
anybody's
uh
watching in the Phoenix area, boycott AMC until they get those recliners in.
we
Yeah.
hypothesized that because it was the IMAX theater, for whatever reason, they might not have recliners in the IMAX theater.
Yeah. Maybe it was like the last one to be renovated or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Regardless, there's a lot of really fantastic things about this movie. I had a lot of fun watching it and listening to it with crisp IMAX quality. But seriously,
Yes.
it's like one of the best looking pieces of animation that I've seen to date, and it's not that surprising because it comes from the Demon Slayer show, or it's the next arc in Demon Slayer, I should say. And that was really well animated, and this just raises the bar with the movie budget, and it looks phenomenal. The plot itself, it's not that consequential. One of the big members, like the Big Ten, I think is what they're called, dies, but we didn't really know him that well, and there's a whole other nine of them. But it did a good job, like introducing some cool mechanics for the show, like just how strong the like elite demons are, and the Michael Jackson guy was kind of a disappointment. I'm gonna call the first villain the Michael Jackson guy because I forgot his name and I don't actually see it on
He's
here.
the big one. I mean, he wasn't even in this, was he?
No, the Michael Jackson guy, the guy that was on the
Yeah,
train.
he's not in it. That's not Michael Jackson. If you're talking about Michael Jackson and Demon Slayer, you're only talking about one character,
Okay,
not the train.
what's the train guy's name? I thought he was Michael Jackson.
Upper Moon Six or Lower Moon. Wait, he's
I
Lower
think it was
Moon One,
6.
which is the sixth
Oh.
best demon,
I'm just gonna
right?
say the sixth best demon. He was kind of
No,
disappointing, but
it's not
overall,
Lower Moon One.
okay, I'm gonna call him the sixth strongest demon. Uh, it was a really enjoyable movie. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Or
What you guys
actually,
think?
no, I think there's 12 total, so he's seventh.
Okay, seventh strongest demon.
Sorry, I gotta
Uh,
make sure it's correct.
you're good. What'd you guys think of it?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was,
I thought it was good.
it was awesome animation. I think the only biggest gripe I have is like the weird CGI at one point with the tentacles, but like it didn't last that long, so I didn't really care too much. And like even that looked better than most CGI that you see in anime. It still looked out of place, but for anything it could have been, like it's slime, so it kind of fit a little bit, I guess. Other than that, animation was, like you said, the best animation I've seen in an animated thing. Um, Besides
Yeah,
like maybe like full on, like if you count like animation as like CGI and like a big blockbuster, then maybe. But like other than that, yeah, of course this is up there for sure. And then like story wise, like I've read the manga and like this isn't one of my favorite arcs, but like um I think the way they handled it was really well. Okay, I was really curious how they're gonna time it because um I was curious if they're just going to do just the train part or the train plus Rengoku's battle at the end. And I'm very happy they did Rengoku's battle at the end because that was a fucking awesome battle. And I definitely like that part of the movie more because you get to see it was like the first time you see a Hashiro like full power and he's still not enough. So that's kind of a crazy moment. But yeah, awesome movie.
where does
Yeah, I was
Rengoku? Quick question: where does
huh.
Rengoku like rank within like the ten Hashira?
I think he's like top four.
Do they rank them? I don't remember if they did. Because I
There's
remember
no
we
official ranking. The only official one is that the Stone Pillar is number one.
Gotcha.
okay. Is he the one who's crying all the time?
Yeah, he is awesome. He is very strong.
I bet.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Kyle.
I mean, I thought that the the animation was like basically about what I was expecting from like Demon Slayer. I don't know if I was as blown away as you guys just because, like, the show already set the bar so high, and I feel like it basically met what I was expecting. Like, I went back and watched the, fight with the spider guy where he does the big fire slash with, like, him and his sister. I thought it
Hmm.
was, like, about comparable. I think that this just, like, went on for way longer, so that was impressive about it. Um 'Cause it was basically like the fight between Rengoku and the other guy was, like, probably, like, 15 minutes of, like, just fight animation, so that would've been, like, almost a whole episode if they
Yeah.
had done that. So I'm definitely glad that they did it as a movie. Um, it was a lot more, like, digestible, like, with, like, the pacing and everything, and, it was really, like, efficient, I feel like. There was not a lot of wasted time, and I kinda suspect that if this had been in a season format, if this had been, like, the first, I don't know, 6 episodes of a season, I can't help but feel like we would have some stretching out of some stuff or something, and so I feel like this was a really good choice to make it into a movie, so I'm definitely glad they did that, and it was really successful too. So, hopefully it inspires other adaptations to just think, "Hey, this arc, would it be better in a movie?" And then if it is, then just make it into a movie because I think that this definitely was the right choice.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Like, this is a shorter arc, so like it really fits that movie, and like I think it's going to be. I mean, we already see like Jujutsu Kaisen's getting a movie, and I'm not sure because of the timetable of like how inspired they were, because like Jujutsu Kaisen's a very, very popular show. Probably not
Mhm.
quite as popular as Demon Slayer when it was coming out, but
Yeah,
um,
it's up there though.
I think I can definitely see it starting a trend on animes being more. I don't know, out of the Japanese market being more open to like uh um movies in general for like arcs, and like them kind of mixing that together, or just like, yeah, people being more open to like just like funding those movies. um I think it's kind of interesting because it's like a almost like a backwards version of like the Marvel situation right now, because Marvel like switched during the pandemic. They were like more open to like moving towards TV with like superhero shows. Like they've just come out with two of them, and they've got quite a few more in the works. Same thing with like Star
Mhm.
Wars. And it's like the opposite because they're moving from like more movie based storylines to more TV based storylines, and like kind of moving towards the mix between that. So I'm really curious if we get like something similar with anime. I don't think it'll be quite on the scale just because, you know, they don't have Disney bankrolling them, but it'll be
Yeah.
very interesting to see.
Um,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not you loved or hated this movie, like this movie is like one of the best things that happened to anime in a really long time because it showed that an anime can have like international, like huge, like they made so much money off this movie, and
Mhm.
I think that's just really good look for anime, and like going forward, we're definitely going to get more of this because other studios are going to look at this and say, we should definitely invest a shit ton of money into a really good movie and put it in theaters everywhere if we can afford it, if we're a big enough studio and our show is popular enough. And there's like a lot of shows that I think fit that criteria. Like I'm almost thinking back now, and like I think Doctor Stone season 2 could have been a movie potentially. um and then
Yeah,
we also
I could see that.
saw what was it? A Made in Abyss. That movie was great. That should have been in theaters in the US. If it wasn't, I don't know if it was, but it should have been.
I think that it was supposed to be, but it happened, like, literally right as COVID was starting. Like, it basically came out a year ago. So I think that they canceled the US showings because of
Yeah,
COVID.
I think a lot of the time, even if it wasn't, like, I think it's gonna be more like similar to like, I know Violet Evergarden, their last section is gonna be a movie, and that's only gonna be very limited in release. And I think Demon Slayer was supposed to be limited in the US as well, but it was such a big opening weekend. Like, it was opening, I think the weekend it opened, it was also opening the same weekend as, I think it was Mortal Kombat, and I think it opened in half the number of theaters that Mortal Kombat opened, but made just under the same amount as Mortal Kombat did, which is kind of cracked.
Yeah, especially for, like, an anime movie. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure, like, this is, like, the highest grossing, animated movie that's rated R. I mean, there aren't that many of those, but, I guess somehow it managed an R rating.
That's a good point because R-rated movies in the last like 5 to 10 years have been doing really bad. Because people just like pirate their movies or whatever, and then they will then so they need to appeal to a broader audience, so they'll go to like PG-13 for most studios, and so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that this was R, but like thinking back on it, this movie is fucking gruesome. So it definitely deserves an R rating.
Yeah, there's a lot of suicide and blood.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
probably the highest suicide count of any movie, maybe. Potentially.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know,
and I'm
but
sure there's
I
some
feel like a
like
movie with a mass suicide might have more, just because.
yeah.
I don't know how
But
many movies there are with mass suicides though.
There's got to be one.
this is probably the most popular movie. Then maybe this is the movie with the highest ratio of like earned money to suicides. I could
This
definitely
is
see
definitely
that.
the movie that made. This is definitely the movie that made me say suicide is badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if, movie studios just want to make more money, they just need more suicides in their movie, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that's the takeaway here.
that's
Yeah.
how data works, I think.
Yeah. Nice.
Anyway. Yeah, no, this is kind of an interesting movie though, just because I think it has a lot of commercial impact on anime, and most shows we watch, you can say that about it, but I would say that this is the anime that really needs to have the discussion of, okay, well, what does this do for anime going forward? Because it definitely does something, and I think it's just going to be
Yeah.
more international movie releases, and they're going to be probably arcs for movies, and because that's the best format and it's worked so far. So
Yeah,
awesome.
that's what I hope. Because I was excited when I heard that the Made in Abyss one was going to be a movie, and then this, I had the same feeling. Even though I liked the series less than Made in Abyss, I was still like, cool. I'm glad. That seems like a good choice. And so yeah, I think that if we get more of that, then I'm happy. Then this movie will have been more than justified its existence if we get more stuff like that.
Yeah. Next Demon Slayer movie though, we gotta all go in and cosplay though. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
Yeah,
Actually, a lot of people.
we'll just all cosplay as One Piece characters and be like, oh, no, we're in the wrong movie.
That's
I
pretty funny.
the theater I went to, at least I saw like 3 or 4 Tanjiro hoodies. I saw like a few other people in like low key cosplay, and then online I saw people like going in like full like Inosuke cosplay, which is kind of
Kind of
strange. I don't
cringe.
know if I didn't know I didn't know theaters were a lot of shirtless people, but
Yeah, you want those
Yeah.
theaters are cold, bro. You're gonna have hard nips for a full hour and a half.
Yeah.
also you
But
guys
also,
saw it
I
in
guess it
IMAX.
covers the mask, the
Yeah,
the boar head.
Yeah. That's true.
you guys saw it on IMAX, but you didn't get the cringe compilation with like I did. So
No, we got normal.
who's really in the win here?
I wonder why they did that to you. Yeah, just getting a highlight reel of just YouTube videos instead of ads. Such a strange
I mean,
choice.
I think it's just like a. I don't go to Alamo a lot, but I think it might be an Alamo Draft House type of thing.
And like the thing
Yeah, I've
is
only been there
though,
once.
with like Demon Slayer and like every anime I've ever liked, not gonna lie, I don't really pay for any of them. Like I play for Hulu and Netflix, and I think I paid for Crunchyroll for like a couple months, and I'm like, it's not really worth it. Like I don't use it that much. And then, but this is a way for me to give money to the people that make my shows, and I'm really happy about it because watching this in theaters was really special because just like you know the visuals and the audio, like I won't get that was the best viewing of the movie I'm ever going to get, and if I watch it again it's not going to be as good. So I feel good about spending my money on this movie. So it's pretty cool, I guess.
Um, back to the Mortal Kombat. It opens. It has opened in uh 2,000 theater. Mortal Kombat's at 3,100 theaters open. This is at 2,000, and it's made 2 million more domestically. So
What's the
39 million
total?
compared.
39.
39 million domestic. I think it's at like 450 million global, which is really good for an anime movie.
That's crazy. Not a
Yeah.
lot in the US.
I mean, for an anime movie, it is. I'm curious what Spirited Away, because that's like the big one that's compared to.
Is it? Man,
Uh,
see if you could find one adjusted for inflation, but regardless. um
this says global Spirited Away was at 383 million. I don't know if that's adjusted.
I doubt it. And then also like, movie ticket prices are just lower, and the dollar was worth more.
Yeah, but still, it's probably gonna be pretty comparable to Spirited Away. I mean, it's already like obviously bigger in Japan than Spirited Away. I just was gonna say
Yeah.
comparable.
Um.
Yeah, but
Do you have something you want to say, Will?
no, I was just saying it's nice to be able to talk about something that's very it's like such a unique thing to talk about for this because it's we don't usually talk about like new releases and it's cool we can talk about like how much of an impact it's had and like what the influence of like a more meta take on the movie as opposed to like just what happened and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess we could talk a bit about like why this movie is popular. I mean, like I see why. I've got to say, of like all the new wave of shonen, and there's a lot. You know, like My Hero Academia is a big one that comes to mind. Like this is definitely leading on like one of my favorites of all the newer shonen. Like you know, there's Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, Doctor Stone, Demon Slayer, obviously. Is there any other really big ones? Oh, Black Clover. Is there any other really big
Um,
ones that are out?
Chainsaw Man's coming soon,
Chainsaw,
anime.
yeah,
But
yeah, that one's gonna be my
Chainsaw Man's
favorite.
leading and it hasn't doesn't even have my animation yet, but it's
Yeah,
probably my second favorite.
I would say
I mean
Chainsaw
Doctor
Man and then
Stone, but
Doctor
Doctor Stone's
Stone.
not definitely not as popular.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Out of the ones that we mentioned, probably Chainsaw Man is probably my favorite, followed by Doctor Stone.
same. And then this one would slot in third. And so you know it's definitely on the more favorable end of things, and there's a lot of reasons, but mostly just because like you know the fights are you know when they really go all out, and I think they've done it like basically twice now where they just have like stupendous animation, like it's one of the best looking piece of animation you could see. And I feel like the audio design was really good, and just like they were so creative as well with the fights, like what's the Hashira's name again?
Rengoku.
Rengoku.
Rengoku. Like at one point he like turned into like a phoenix, I think, or like a
Yeah,
tiger. And that was a really sick scene when he started his fight with like the elite demon. And I just really like their creativity that they have with fight scenes. And same with Tanjiro, back in the season when he was fighting the spider guy, and like his attack was like very centered around like his family's like tribal dance, and it had like a really
Yeah,
nice
that was
rhythm
really
to
cool.
it. And just a lot
Yeah.
of creativity in fight scenes that and even like the designs of the enemies are usually really good too. I like the train guy. I thought he was boring, but I thought like him owning a train and then becoming a train sets up for some really interesting combat. So I think they just really
yeah.
got the fighting. Like they have the best fights right now. Like they just do.
I actually like loved the sequence. Like we talked about it earlier, but the suicide sequence was really well like choreographed because like it was like it almost felt like Edge of Tomorrow or like Groundhog Day type of thing, where he's like constantly dying over and over again. But like the way it was choreographed, like you get the idea. Like it's not just him killing himself. You also kind of get the weight of him killing himself. Like it's not an easy thing to do, and even in the dream, like he knows like I'm dreaming and I need to kill myself, but it's probably still painful within the dream. So he's doing that every time, and like you see Upper Moon 7, like he's like holy shit, that takes a lot of fucking willpower. Like he's literally falling asleep every single time, instantly killing himself, and then coming back. Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty cool design for a fight. And then he like almost like kills himself. That was a nice touch, and
yeah, that was
definitely.
it's a really cool
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
I
Because that's
remember
the
reading that. I was
obvious
like,
like
that's really
counter.
smart.
Yeah, it's like the obvious counter is like, okay, well, if he just trained to kill himself whenever he wakes up, then just maybe one time, just don't send him into the dream, and then
Yeah. I liked being able to see. I think uh, well, Inosuke is like my favorite character, so seeing him team up with Tanjiro to take down the Train Demon was awesome. But like, we didn't really get to see a whole lot of Zenitsu, which is kind of sad. We get to see his like dream world, which is hilarious, and like a few good moments. But I think Inosuke definitely shined a bit more in this one. His dream world was hilarious, where the
Yeah,
guy's like, "What the? Where the fuck?" Or the girl was like, "Where the fuck am I?" And then he just sees Inosuke like leading Tanjiro and Zenitsu and Nezuko and like gives Nezuko the acorns and shit. And then they just get chased out. It was just absolutely bizarre. But like there were some really funny moments in the movie.
yeah. The whole dream sequence besides the combat, like that was the best part of the movie. Just
Yeah.
because Zenitsu's like simping over Nezuko, and then Inosuke just like visualizing himself as like leading a bunch of little rats around, and he is their sworn leader. It's pretty funny stuff.
Also, like the guy entering Tanjiro's dream, and Tanjiro's dream is just so beautiful. The guy's like, I can't destroy this. He's being like led by like uh
Like
was it like
sprites.
cherubs or something? Yeah, sprites.
Yeah.
And
He's
then
just
he like
he's just
leaves.
such a good boy.
Yeah, that was pretty wholesome and pretty
He's
cool.
the best boy.
And then yeah, they did a pretty good job setting up like the emotional impact of the entire movie. Like so like the end with Rengoku does hit you emotionally because they gave you their Rengoku flashbacks with him and his brother and his father and his mother, and it makes for a more powerful ending.
Yeah, I like how it kind of like basically the typical Demon Slayer formula for like the fights, how it goes is like, you're fighting the demon, you learn their powers or whatever, then they beat them, and then they like get like right as they do the final cut, there's like the flashback that the demon has where it's like, oh, this is how I became a demon, and I am actually really sad because I didn't want to be killing all these people. And it's like basically we get like a very similar kind of setup with Rengoku. It's just this time it's not a demon that ends up dying at the end of the fight. It's like we get like that final flashback, like right when Rengoku dies. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's definitely sticking with the reason that the show is successful, I guess. Like that's the kind of
Yeah,
the
that's a
appeal
good
of the
point.
fights, I would say, is like the emotional and then also obviously the animation, which was consistent with what you'd expect.
Yeah, they actually did that in like a pretty clever way. That like just shows like that they do understand their formula, which is just like good from the audience perspective because like I just feel like I trust them a little bit more because this fight is different with all their other fights because like one of the demon slayers that is important dies, but they made the proper adjustments within the fight for there still to be an emotional impact within that fight. Um,
Yeah.
because I remember I was
Well, and
really
we also like had
confused.
seen part of this flashback before too. Like we understood what his deal was with his dad and his brother and everything before. I think that like the thing that we got as he died was like the thing with his mother to kind of like make it so it connects with the whole family, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I was pretty happy they didn't well that the creator didn't go like the route of doing the flashback with the train demon because like the train demon seemed like pretty not like there are demons before this that have seemed like not great people that have killed a lot of people and you still get a redemption, but like the train demon guy seemed like he was fully bad. Like he was, I want to be a demon and I'm gonna kill every single person in this train, and I have been killing people on trains all this time, and like I don't know. Also, like maybe they could have pulled it off like that, but I definitely enjoy the fact that they went with the Rengoku emotional aspect as opposed to the train guy.
Yeah, it
I
just
mean, we
has a
could have got
more.
both.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that would have slowed down the fight too much. Because then it would
Also,
be
that would have felt
like
a bit too formulaic.
it would have been slowed down the fight too much, and it just lets you kind of like keep your focus. You know what I mean? Because like almost immediately after like the train is resolved, like you have like a couple minutes where you're like, okay, they did it. But there's still like 40 minutes left in the movie. I'm not sure what's going on. And then you see like another conflict coming immediately, and then it just feels more satisfying to me. I feel like resolving the train demon with some backstory, it would have crowded up and confused the viewer, and then you'd be going into this other fight. It would have been too much going on. I like the way they did it actually.
Yeah, I guess the movie was very efficient, and I think that might have messed with the pacing. But I mean, I think that the train demon was like the most boring part of the movie, and like we did spend more time with the train demon than with like Rengoku, his mother.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's just the flaw with like the design for the movie they went with. I think what they did with it is fine, but yeah, like you're right that this train demon was boring because they structured him to be boring. So I don't really know why they structured
yeah,
it this way. Wasn't a bit of a flaw there, but I think they didn't. It wasn't a sunk cost. They didn't stick with the train demon the whole time, I guess. So I guess I'll give them a little bit of credit for that. They focused on what was important.
Um,
yeah.
I'm curious to get your thoughts, guys. Thoughts? Were you like pretty shocked when Rengoku died, or were you expecting it, or
Like what from the beginning of the movie, I didn't expect him to die, but like once he started fighting like the super strong demon, I'm like, yeah, this guy's probably gonna die.
okay?
Yeah, I was like, well, it really did. I was actually kind of I was impressed that they ended up killing him off because like he was very likable, and like he was, he has flame powers, and like I don't know, I feel like fire guys are always popular just because like flames are cool. Um, and I can definitely see this guy being one of the more popular characters. I haven't like looked at the popularity polls or anything, but that's just kind of my
Yeah,
guess.
he definitely is.
Um, yeah, and like I don't know, I feel like this is actually like a good move for them to kill him because it's like really I don't know, a lot of I mean, especially in Demon Slayer, but really it's true for like most shonen. Like a lot of shonen characters just are not that deep, you know? Like they have their powers and they have their like personality quirks. And like really the point of like a shonen character is to like show up, show off their strongest powers, like impress their personality onto everyone around them. And then like if they die, then like that's fine because they already did everything that they really need to do. And if they stick around, then like maybe they can show off stronger powers later. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this guy had kind of given everything that he had to give. And so I'm glad that they killed him off because now I'm sure that all the other characters were like crying for a very long time at the end of the movie. So I'm sure this will like stick with them as like, as like a point of loss going forward in the narrative.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was, because yeah, it kind of bugs me sometimes when like, I mean, I feel like it's more of a problem with villains when like villains don't die and you're like, I know that this guy is like probably never going to come back, or like maybe he will come back and just do like one stronger version of like an attack that we've already seen. But yeah, I was happy that he died. I guess not because I didn't like him, just because I think that he'd probably given all that he had.
Yeah. When I read it, I was like, that's pretty smart because like the last thing we saw was Hashira's like absolutely playing, toying with, and just destroying one of the lower moon demons, like
Hmm.
in the forest. So like we're like, wow, these Hashiras are really strong. And then like an upper moon demon comes and like, or maybe it's lower. I can't remember which one's which, upper or lower, but one of the higher end demons comes and just and he beats him and it's like a close fight, but like at that point like going forward, like during a fight, especially with those higher level demons, like not even the Hashira are safe. Like it's a bit
Yeah,
it's a nice thing to add like to an element of risk to the fight because I feel like up until then like yeah the main characters can be in threat but like so far we've never had like a huge threat like to the actually like the strongest elements of the show.
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like with for shonen, that's just like I just need to get stronger. Like a really good uh mechanic for a show like that, especially for Demon Slayer, is just like kind of like set the goal a little bit. And if like the Hashira had beaten the demon, it's almost like for Tanjiro that like he doesn't really need to do anything because he knows the Hashira will like keep him safe and like
Yeah.
they can defeat the top level demons. But I think him seeing a Hashira fall is just like putting the three main characters like, oh shit, like I gotta go above like what most Hashira can do. And I feel like that's a really good thing for like setting up later in the show when eventually Tanjiro and the gang like come into contact with like that top echelon demon, and then we can kind of gauge where they are compared to this Hashira. And I do think it just makes things just like fall into place a lot better for like power scaling. And
Yeah.
it really identifies their goal more because at the moment their goal is just like we got to kill demons and we got to get strong. And it's like thank you for at
yeah.
least making that more clear of like how strong, what demons do we need to kill.
Uh-huh.
And like definitely keeping villains around is just like always like a better choice because the main characters like there's always going to be some that are staying around, and you can always throw in more demon slayers to kill off if they join the group temporarily. But I feel like villains that continually come back are almost always better than just like one-time villains. So
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
there's a
feel like
good
this.
there's a good balance
uh,
though, because like sometimes you can get those mustache twirling villains like I'll get you next time.
yeah,
But
you're
like
right. It can be corny, but I don't think this was corny.
no, I don't think so at all.
Yeah, I mean, this is very clearly like setting up, like you said, Griffin, it's setting up like expectations for like how strong our characters need to be to like finish the series and like kill all of like the big ones. Um, but it's like, yeah, so I think it's better than just like, because we already knew how strong the demon was before he killed Rengoku. Like he's like what the third strongest, the fourth
Yeah,
strongest, something like that.
He's in that
upper moon.
ballpark, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like one of like the very, very top guys. So I mean, it does make sense for him to like stick around. I agree. But the one thing that I am a little concerned about is like this means that like our characters, I mean, I was gonna happen, but it's just like this means that like our characters need to be stronger than the Hashiras, like to even beat like the third or fourth strongest demon, right? So they basically need to be like the strongest guy in order to beat like Muzan, I think is like the big bad's name.
Yeah, that's Michael
Um,
Jackson.
and I know that this series is not very long. So it just kind of makes me worried that like the rest of the progression like of our characters and like how strong they get for the rest of the series is going to just be really really fast, and I'm worried that it's not going to feel earned just because like now the bar is very high and I know we are not dealing with a very long series. So
How much longer is it?
It's 200 chapters total. This goes through. The original show goes through, I think, the first 50.
Okay, so this is like probably like another 10 to 15, like the train
Might be
arc.
80. Let me see. I can look it up.
yeah. I mean, it's just like if we're already like a third of the way through the series, like I don't feel like our characters are like a third of the way there to being that strong. Like they're kind of strong, like, but there was still so much that like the Hashira knew that like that Tanjiro didn't know. Like he
Yeah,
did
so
teach him one technique, like the healing technique. So that's good. But, I
Mugen
mean, that's
Train
not really
ends at 69.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I mean, there's still being 130 chapters. I mean, I get what you're
So we're
saying that I don't feel
right.
like we're a third of the way there, but I mean, it's gonna be tight. I get your concern. Yeah, that might not be
Yeah.
quite enough. Yeah, we'll just have to see, but that's a pretty valid concern.
So this arc was 16 chapters. The next arc is 29 chapters, which is season 2.
Okay.
So,
So it's probably not going to be as long as season 1 then, if I had to guess.
well, yeah, season 1 was 50 chapters. I think it could be. I think they'll do the. Let's see, who just did this recently? It's like the 26 and then 12 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty,
Attack on Titan.
it'll probably be
I
like
think it was
12 or
Attack on
13.
Titan, yeah.
Yeah, Attack on Titan
Probably
did
be 12.
26 and 12.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the next season because I think it is my favorite arc.
Cool.
It'll probably be a decent amount of time until season 2 comes out. Probably.
It's supposed to be 2021.
What?
Yeah, I think they've been working on it for quite a long time because the movie's been in theaters for such a long time.
I mean, we checked in the theater. It's been almost a year since the movie
Yeah.
came out. Maybe 9 months. Oh yeah, it was 9 months.
Yeah.
It was 9 months.
And they were probably working on it before that, like, released for sure. So.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. But 2021, that's really early. I was thinking like 2022, like maybe 2023. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be definitely the last winter going into 2022, but still.
The
It's gonna
last.
be
Okay.
pretty cracked.
Yeah, I mean, despite what Kyle just said, like, hey, like I think that our characters are gonna get strong too fast. I'm still looking forward to the rest of the show. Yeah. Well, have you finished the manga? Will?
Yes, sir.
Um, I guess I probably don't want to. I'll ask you off air, actually.
Yeah, you can ask me later.
Okay.
I would recommend the manga to anybody. That's what I will say.
Okay.
If you like the show, you will like the manga.
Me and Kyle actually talked about this outside the theater, and we said, or maybe I think actually Kyle said this, yeah. And I was saying, oh, maybe I'll read the manga. And then Kyle said, well, for me, Demon Slayer, the best part of the entire show is the animation. And, in the manga, there's no animation, obviously. There's drawings, and I'm sure the drawings are nice, but it doesn't quite measure up to what the Demon Slayer animation style really is. Will, would you agree with that or disagree with that? I think I can ask that.
Yeah, I'd say, well, 2 points I would say was that I read a colored version which had some really fucking cool art. Especially like the Rengoku fight has some fucking sick ass, like the fire looks better colored obviously. But also like I don't know, I feel like Kyle's like you're one of the biggest proponents for like cool art in manga, and I think this manga especially has some really cool art. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't
No,
read a
I
lot
mean,
of.
like normally, like I am like the manga guy,
Yeah.
But like I feel like the animation is just like such a selling point for this. So
Yo, no, 100%. But I definitely would say that I never felt like limited. Like when I was reading a fight scene, I was always very invested in the fight scene despite not having that animation. Um, and like you do get a great sense of movement, and the art is absolutely fantastic.
How long ago did the manga finish?
It was
I
really
think it finished
recently.
like right when the first season was airing,
Yeah.
Okay,
And if you
so
do
or
read it,
like the same
there
year.
is like a post manga thing that kind of covers some stuff. So I know
okay.
I think I've got it saved somewhere. If it's like a um I think the last chapter is 205 and it's like 205.5 or something they call it.
Gotcha.
Nice.
But it's
When did the first
other than
season come out? 2018?
2019, I think.
2019.
Wow, these guys are moving fast, bro. Jeez.
Well, it's all they're
I
working
mean,
on.
they kind of probably would just want to capitalize on the popularity, you know,
I
because
know.
it's really
I know. But like
People
the
want some art.
animation looks really good, and like with Attack on Titan, like, same kind of thing. They wanted to capitalize on the popularity, but like the CG and that looked like a little
yeah,
questionable at times.
But that
yeah,
was also a bit rushed. I feel like I don't know. I feel like Attack on Titan definitely animation was like a high point for some of the seasons, but it was never a selling point, I don't think.
In season 3, I would say it's a selling point. Oh my god! But in season 4, no.
Okay, but like when you recommend Attack on Titan to somebody, that's not like one of the first things you say, would it be?
Um, Now I
no,
wouldn't because season 4 exists. But if somebody said, "Oh, why do you like Attack on Titan?" Like season 1, season 2, like I think the plot is interesting, but in season 3, like the animators like are literally cracked. Like they're just like going ham on Levi
Yeah.
scenes, and it's
I mean I agree that for sure,
like
but
that's probably
I don't
one
know.
of the best scenes of animation. That like scene of Levi like running through the city from like Jack the Ripper or whatever his name is, and like I would say
Kenny.
it's up there with Kenny. Yeah, Kenny. Yeah, he seems like Jack the Ripper.
Kenny.
Like that.
Dude,
Like
that
that
scene is
is
so good.
like I'd say that scene is very comparable to a lot of the Demon Slayer animation that we get at their peak. So yeah, I would say that there's
Yeah,
definitely like really good moments of animation, and that's definitely a reason I would list for sure.
But
yeah.
like which number reason is it? Is it
Oh, I mean, it's
one,
maybe not the
two?
first thing I would
Well,
say.
yeah, it's definitely not because also I think the majority of Attack on Titan has like better writing than what I've seen of Demon
Yeah, I
Slayer
think
so far.
Yeah,
that's the major. That's I'd say that's the major appeal. Whereas like, that's why I think the studio is more comfortable rushing it because they know animation's probably not the major appeal and story is. And I think it worked out fine for them because I I mean the story was excellent. So, but like for this, like you don't really want to rush an animation studio that's doing an animation that's like known for how good the animation is, because
Yeah,
once you rush it and it comes out and the animation isn't as good or it's shit, then what do you have left? You've got a decent
yeah,
story
then nothing.
with good characters, and it's not going to be bad, but like it's going to be so much comparably worse that it's going to be
yeah, I'd
I
agree.
mean,
That's why I'm
also
just
another thing is
impressed.
like Mappa has been like making so many series, and so there's no way that all of their guys were working on Attack on Titan. You know,
yeah,
they probably knew that they weren't going to be able to get a quality product out, and they were probably just like, all right, the B team's working on this while the A team's working on Jujutsu Kaisen.
yeah. Or
Sure.
maybe the C team was working on Attack on Titan, the B team was working on Jujutsu Kaisen, and the A team's still working on Chainsaw Man.
Let's
That
hope
would be the
so,
dream.
We can hope.
dude.
We
Yeah,
can only hope. Yeah,
Chainsaw Man, dude, that shit's gonna be fire.
Hopefully.
yeah,
Um, yeah, if it looks anywhere near Demon Slayer level, it's like a very different animation style though.
yeah,
I would
yeah. It's
be,
very different.
I would be pretty cool. That'd be very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I honestly don't know if I don't think like
Who's
the
the
one to one
studio for
animation
Demon
style would
Slayer?
change.
For
It's
Demon Slayer, it's UFO Table.
UFO
yeah, UFO
table.
Table. Is their
Oh,
first like
I'm gonna tell you that right now. No, they've done Demon Slayer, Fate. Oh, they've done Fate. Oh, that makes sense because people like freak the fuck out over Fate animation. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Well, I think that basically what UFO Table is known for is they were like one of like the first studios to really master like combining like digital techniques with like traditional animation techniques. And I
Yeah,
mean that definitely shows in Demon Slayer like a lot to like the untrained eye, you wouldn't even know that they're using like 3D CG, but a lot of it is like, okay, you have like,
Yeah, the
you know,
room
there's
around an
3D CG
animation or something.
with like hand-drawn animation like over it. Because, you know, there's some crazy camera angles like during the you know, there's like a huge camera pan during like the, you know, cutting off the head of the spider guy. And I'm sure there was some in this one. I just didn't have time to like go back and rewatch the fight. But yeah, there's like that is something that is like really, really, really hard to do with traditional animation. Is like a moving camera with moving objects.
Yeah, I could
Just because
imagine.
perspective. Yeah.
But I mean, my roommate in senior year of college was really into Fate, and he was like, "You don't have to watch the show, but just like watch these fight sequences." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." And like, yeah, they were absolutely insane. So maybe I'll give Fate Zero a chance like further down the line, because I did end up watching like a bit of some of the writing, and I was like, yes, it's kind of like corny and like weird at some
Yeah.
points, but
Honestly, you could probably get away with just watching the fights for Fate Zero. I
yeah.
feel like it's overrated.
Yeah, dude, it was weird. Like there was like a high school, and like it was completely empty, and like there was just these like they had like avatars kind of. I don't know. It was a bizarre show, but anyway,
There's actually one great episode of Fate Zero, but the rest does not, on the writing department, does not even come close to reaching it. So maybe you could just watch that episode.
yeah.
Tune in for our Fate Zero episode
Yeah.
Yeah.
to hear our full opinions.
Yeah, the Fate Zero fight episode. I might do that.
Yeah.
That's it. Let's see. Was there anything else that you guys want to touch on with the Demon Slayer movie?
Music was awesome. Like the music was fucking good.
Yeah, I'd
Got
agree with
you-
that. The music during
it
the
got
fight
you
was good.
Really
Yeah.
hyped.
Yeah, that's true.
Sound design was epic. Like I don't know if you guys noticed, but like Tanjiro turns his head and you can hear his earrings jingle. It was
Nice.
crazy. It was so cool.
That's a nice touch.
Um,
I like the it's not really new to the movie, but just like the character designs are just like always really really good with this show.
yeah.
Like all the Hashira, all the MCs, all the villains, like all the actually the train demon wasn't that cool looking. It kind of just looked like a normal dude.
I like
So
this conductor outfit.
maybe yeah, I guess I don't know. He was kind of boring, but everyone else just like especially Rengoku, like he just looks so cool.
He's so ridiculous looking, but I love it. Like nobody has ever in the history of humanity looked anything remotely close to that. Like
Yeah.
he's got like fire hair.
He looks like
Just
an alien with his huge eyes that never blink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like how he has like the Zenitsu eyebrows too, where they're like forked at the ends. They're huge.
true.
Yeah.
But he was. I mean,
I kind of like that.
very,
That's
very
what
well
I.
done.
That's one of the cool things about anime is that you could just have somebody just look absolutely ridiculous if they were translated it. Like if there was a live action version of this, like it would
He
be
would look so
it would be hopeless.
Yeah, I mean, he would just look
so
like a dude
bad.
with a wig. Yeah, like there's no way that you could make. Yeah, no, there's definitely way more possibilities with just conveying like what a character is about just by how they look through animation because
Yeah.
you don't have like you're not restricted to like using people
Yeah,
or using like CG that is like supposed to be right next to a real person.
Yeah.
there's
I think-
some rare cases where I think it looks really good. But more often than not, I feel like it's like actual like art, like body art and like sculpting with like clay or whatever they use.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and it's like you can't make like in real life, you wouldn't be able to have like, or it would be a lot harder to make like a normal human be that like immediately just convey what he's about, you know?
yeah, I
Like
think
I can
Yeah.
see it with like alien designs and stuff. Like
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense because like, you know, there you can go crazy with aliens because it's just like, oh, they're just aliens. But with like for a human being to be that like expressive in just their appearance is you know, it basically requires like a really good actor and like really good makeup, but still just you can't do as much than you can with like literally just a drawing.
Not even just a really good actor, but like the perfect actor, right? Because like
Yeah,
there's things
yeah.
like body
You basically
shape
need exactly what the creator is envisioning, like
in a
to just
person.
already be a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have to
say
exist.
they say like one of the biggest parts of character design is like a recognizable silhouette, and like
Hmm.
that's like one of the biggest things that I've noticed with a lot of like the Hashira are instantly recognizable. The upper moon demons especially are like instantly or lower moons, fuck, whatever, whoever's higher, they're all, we haven't seen a lot of them, but like they're instantly recognizable. Like Tanjiro and his squad, like so easy to tell who's who, just instant glance. Whereas like, and like character design can get a bit crazy and like a bit weird, but I think they have a lot of fun with it while also doing a great job, and it doesn't get bogged down in too much. Like they're not like crazy complex designs or anything, but
There's a lot of color contrast.
yeah, I think color is probably one of the biggest aspects of it that just it allows the pop of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think Donkey actually made a really good point about this. And like this video from a really long time ago, he like talked about like video game graphics, and he said like Halo 1 was like a really good example of that, because like all of the elites and grunts like have like these super bright, like super saturated colors. And then he showed like the remastered edition, and they're like all just like grayed over, and it's like impossible to like differentiate the landscape from
That's the
like
worst.
the characters. And I feel like that's actually a problem for animation sometimes for me, and Demon Slayer does not have that problem.
Also,
Yeah.
something that we've also talked about before, reading manga, like especially Chainsaw Man had this issue because everyone was wearing a suit, whereas like it's hard to tell some of the characters apart when you're just reading it. Like obviously the main cast is a bit more specific, but like I never had that problem when I was reading uh, the manga for Demon Slayer, just because like, well, A, because it more focuses on the main cast, but also B, just because the character design of the main cast is just so good.
And they all have like kimonos that are like designed, at least most of them do. They all have like unique, or I think they're kimonos. I'm going to call them kimonos. Like Tanjiro does, Zenitsu does, a lot of the
Yeah.
Hashiras do. And those are the ones you care about, so.
Yeah. Yep. They all have like patterns on them. Like
Mm-hmm.
Giyu's kimono is super cool. It's got like the half pattern, half not pattern. Tanjiro obviously has his pattern. Very, very good character design.
Let's see. I personally cannot think of anything else to talk about. Do you guys have anything else?
Uh, got a Tatake scene, which is pretty cool.
What do you mean?
uh, Tanjiro is looking in his instead of Eren looking at his reflection in a mirror and saying Tatake, it was Tanjiro looking in the reflection in the water in his dream saying Tatake.
They rip
Uh,
off Attack on Titan. It's 0 out of 10.
Yeah,
yeah.
0 to 10. No, I don't know. It's just something I thought. I don't think it was intentional nearly at all, but it was a
There actually,
slight
now that you
giggle.
pointed out, there are more similarities than just I initially thought. I initially thought it was just repeatedly saying Tatake, which is not that similar, but there
Well,
is
I
at
mean, the
least the
only other
second layer
similarity
of
that
the reflection.
yeah, some water element to it, and
Yeah,
because one of them was wet.
yeah,
I don't know. It was just a slight giggle.
yeah. But then this one doesn't end with like Tanjiro like bitching out his commanding officer, so
Yeah.
it's kind of nice
It ends with him killing himself.
because Tanjiro is too good for that. He's a pure boy.
Yeah, Tanjiro is kind of annoying sometimes.
Whoa, where'd you
He's
get
just,
annoying from?
I mean, he's
he's
just
just annoying.
like
He's just I don't think he's annoying. He's just like a pretty
he
boilerplate good boy shonen protagonist. But
like yeah, he doesn't really have like his own ambitions. Um and
I
he's
kind of like
not
how he's just so wholesome.
I've seen it before, so I don't think it's interesting. I don't think it's unique to Tanjiro. I think it's like
yeah.
fucking Midoriya is this character. Midoriya and Tanjiro are almost the same.
You could argue Gon as well, but Gon has
Well,
like a turn.
No, but Gon like it is kind of like that maybe originally, but like by the
Well, no,
end, Gon is
that's like
not a
Gon's whole
good boy.
character.
yeah, no, he
Yeah,
literally
Yeah,
goes.
is like
losing
is like
that.
not being is like basically trying to like be a good boy for so long that he like cracks and then he's
Yeah,
like fucked.
yeah, he like just starts killing people when he shouldn't. No spoilers, but
Yeah. Yeah. So
uh,
like
That's
Gon is great.
his whole thing.
um, yeah, no, I mean, I just wish Tanjiro had like some ambitions that like challenged his like morals basically, but he doesn't. He's always just like I'm a little perfect man. So
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just kind of like probably my biggest problem with the series as a whole is just like the a lot of the characters are like pretty one note and kind of like bare bones. And I mean, it works. Like I'm fine with like, you know, more gimmicky characters just like having a gimmick and that's it. But it doesn't really. I just would like a little more. You know.
Yeah. I think one thing that's like interesting with Tanjiro's wholesomeness for me is like you see it in the first season as well, like how infectious it can be, I guess. Because like when he kills him and you get the flashback and then they realize I'm I'm a bad person and like this boy has seen through me and like can understand where I'm coming from and I should repent or whatever. Like his wholesomeness is infectious that way, and then you have a bit more straight up infectiousness in this one where he like goes into his mind and like, holy shit, this is the most serene area of all time, and like I don't want to kill this boy anymore. I just want to like go back and find another solution. Like I don't know, it's something. At least there is some interesting aspect to the wholesomeness as opposed to just a nice person, you know?
That's fair. It definitely does like fit with the formula that the series establishes for itself. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I just feel like it's really hard to like see him develop if in like every situation he's just like, I have the perfect moral compass and I'm always gonna do the right thing and I'm never gonna be like, questioned uh by my morals to the point of like where they break. And I just don't think it's very interesting to watch a character do
Well,
that.
I think it also could add like a like for instance with Gon, like Gon is such a wholesome character, so like when the moment that he does break, like that's it's a pretty big moment. So
yeah.
I think
Um
it could add elements to the
But it's
story
also
down the
like not
line,
out of
but
character, because there are like because Gon is like very motivated by his own like personal goals and stuff.
yeah.
So it makes sense that like when something important to him is taken away and he can never get it back, then that
Yeah.
would cause a break because like Gon is like he has like a good heart, but I mean he's still like a self-motivated character and he's like selfish in some ways.
and
So
I feel like the dynamic of him having Killua with him, who is so similar to him, but he's way more self-interested, like just puts Gon in more precarious situations. Or with
mhm.
Tanjiro, I feel like it's so cut and dry. Like it's very obvious what the right thing to do is, but with Killua and like just the characters they get involved with, there's a lot more like gray because like they're fighting demons in this show, and like it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to like be on the side of the demon more often than not.
Yeah.
There's been a couple good ones here and there, but the vast majority are evil. With Killua and Gon, there's always that inkling of self-interest because of Killua, and then the people they're fighting are always other people except for one arc in particular. So I don't know, I just feel like the
But
scenarios
even then,
are different.
like they're not all like they're not just like evil,
Yeah,
The ants are not evil.
yeah,
They're
that's what
yeah.
makes them interesting.
Some are, but some are not.
Yeah, there's moments of humanity, one could say. Sometimes the
Yeah.
most evil ones have the most humanity. You never know.
Yeah.
You just never know.
And yeah. And that was good because you kind of learn about how fucked up humanity can be at times too. When you see
Yeah.
it firsthand.
So I guess I would say I don't think Tanjiro himself is that annoying. I guess the real answer to like what bothers me about Tanjiro is personally I don't think he's in an environment that challenges him in a way that I would find interesting. There we go.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
Yeah, he's not a
we
very like
might get there.
dynamic character.
We might get there. Who knows? But it'd be nice to get there sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Hey, boss, what's up?
Oh, it's a boss.
Whoa, where'd you come from, bud?
Dude, welcome to our anime podcast, The Boss, where we compare every anime we're watching this week to Hunter x Hunter. And we have
Thanks.
not, and we
Well,
have not
you
done.
haven't been sitting in. You haven't been sitting in on our One Piece podcast, but I think the last two episodes, I think I've pulled out a Hunter x Hunter.
We should probably get a review up of Hunter x Hunter, just because like
Did you guys
we
do
talk
one?
about it every week. Nope.
No, we have not done one.
Oh, okay. I'd be down to do one. I don't know if yeah.
I mean, we'll talk
I
about
think
it.
I've been like, for some reason I've been jonesing to rewatch, but only Greed Island.
Based?
Greed Island was so good.
Greed Island is
Honestly, when I
perfect.
was watching it the first time, I was like, this is a pretty good arc. But like, the more I think about it, like, that was a pretty good arc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all really good.
Yeah. Anyway, back
Um,
to back to Demon Slayer.
Boss, do you have any thoughts on Demon Slayer? We've covered a lot of ground, so just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed like the show, and so like I think the movie was like pretty good like cinematically, and I enjoyed that they kept it. I don't know, it just seemed like I wouldn't have liked to watch what I watched in a movie as like a TV show over like multiple episodes. Um, but I think you guys get what I mean. But basically, like
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I don't know. It was there. I definitely felt emotional at certain points, but then I felt like it got too drawn out, and I felt like a lot of things just got maybe too drawn out, even for a movie. Like the whole crying thing at the end. Like at first, like I was starting to like tear
There
up,
was a
and then
lot
they
of
just
crying.
kept crying, and I was like, I'm not
There was a lot
crying
of
anymore.
crying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was a lot.
yeah. So like, there were definitely moments like that, and I don't know, the villain didn't really do it for me this time around. Like normally like I'm a fan of Demon Slayer, like the demons in it. But it was just like I didn't ever understand his like the guy at the very end. I don't know what his name is, but
For
that
Mercury.
demon, like I didn't understand what his like power actually was. Seemed like just like some sort of like magic, and it's like, what is it, like generic magic, or like does he have like some sort of like special thing that he does?
Well, he's got
Um,
demon blood magic, but I don't think you're supposed to understand him too well because he's the third most powerful demon. So I think he's supposed to show up, fuck shit up, and leave. He's
I
not.
mean,
You're not supposed to.
I mean, he's got a fair point though. Like the train
Yeah, I
guy, his
understand.
thing is the train. The spider guy, his thing is spiders and webs, and then
Mhm.
like so forth. And this guy is just like, I'm
Yeah.
just strong.
yeah,
That's actually a good point. Yeah. Because I don't really think that like, I would not want to have seen his entire power, considering that we know for sure that he's going to get a fight later on in the series. But I don't even think that we got like enough to even speculate about what his power could be. Um, so I don't think that like there was like, you know, I would really like there to be like, maybe like a clue or something where it's like, oh, like I could use this to kind of speculate and try to make theories on like what his power is. But I just feel like what we saw was him just like doing a lot of like regeneration and like not being cut. And then like, he did some attacks, but they weren't really like uh they weren't as like creative as like the other demon arts that we've seen previously. They just seemed like mostly just like punches and stuff. And so I think that he will have a demon art that is like more creative because just would or else it would be weird that like the weaker demons had more cool powers. So yeah, I feel like we haven't even really seen his demon art. And so it'd be cool to like see it, but like maybe in a way where you don't really know the full extent of it. We didn't really get that. So yeah, I agree.
yeah. It would
Kind
it
of
would have been kind of cool, like because there was like that part at the very end of the fight when he's running away, right? Because the sun is coming up, and like Tanjiro, I guess goes after him with his sword and like tries to like throw the sword really fast and like really hard, and
Mhm.
like to get it to hit him. Um, but like he just like manages to escape. I felt like that was a bit anticlimactic. Like the death of the flame dude, that didn't feel like super anticlimactic, but I thought the escape felt a bit anticlimactic. So maybe
Maybe it
if
would
he
have
had
been
like
go on.
no, go for it, go for it.
I was just gonna say maybe that would have been a good opportunity for him to like use a power where it's like, what? How the fuck did he get away? And
Yeah,
it's like,
that's what I
oh,
was gonna
now
say. Yeah,
you nice because there are definitely like points in like the best shonen ever One Piece where like we're not supposed to know what a character's power is, but they use it and it's like ambiguous as to like what exactly it is, and then
Well, that's what I
later
was
on we
thinking
find out.
because we talked about that recently with One Piece, and like I think I felt the same here. Like if a character like Upper Moon 3 shows up and like he uses his powers and it's ambiguous, and like you're left to think for the next time he shows up, like what is that power? Like that's kind of weird. So I'm okay with like not knowing his power, but
I don't know.
Well, I don't
I
know.
feel
I,
like
I feel like I
Kyle.
I don't really remember like that well, but it kind of just seems like he was just doing like like normal like punches and kicks and stuff, but like maybe I missed something.
He said like
I think
nightmare cataclysm, and then like he just punched really strong. He kept saying like
Yeah,
some
that's what I'm
phrases.
saying. Like
Yeah.
it's like a he just punched.
well,
Whereas
I
like,
think
if we think back about like the other demon arts, like there was like that one, like the one guy who he had like a bunch of different drums, and like whenever he hit the drum, the room like turned and stuff. Like that was like a really creative power. Like if this guy's power is just like a special flavor of punches, like I'm gonna be disappointed, is all I'm saying.
Spicy
yeah, I mean,
punches.
I think one thing
Yeah.
is also like I think it just speaks to the fact that like we watched this movie, I don't know what, 2 weeks ago, and we can't remember his power. And like we've like
Yeah.
I don't know how
Wasn't that
long it's been since
memorable.
you guys watched the show, but it's been a pretty long time for me. And I clearly remember the drum guy's power because it was memorable. It was like unique.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Or like even like the spider people, like they were all kind of like web based, but like they were thematic and they like fit with their character designs and stuff. So that was
yeah.
better than this, I would say. But I could be like blown away when like we actually find out what his power is when I either read the manga or watch the anime when it comes out. So I don't know. But as of right now, I wasn't super impressed with him. I was like impressed with like the fight overall, but I wouldn't say that the villain was like a huge part of that.
At the
Back
end of the
to
day, I just want to say that I think that was a missed opportunity. Now that I think about it, if you're gonna have a villain on screen and you're not gonna leave like any kind of mystery into like who they are and like what their skill set is, like that's just stupid. And like you just wasted
Yeah.
time because like it wouldn't have been any more extra work to like write in a power that you don't fully understand other than him being really fast and really strong.
Unless the author hasn't thought of the power yet.
Then
But I don't know.
that's just like lazy.
That's just poor planning. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
But maybe his power is actually just that he's really strong and really fast.
That would suck.
Well, then like I said, that would suck. Yeah.
back to you mentioned as anticlimactic boss. What would you like? What was your solution be like?
It
Do you want
was
Tanjiro
what
to
Kyle,
kill him,
Kyle
or
ended up saying. It was just that it would have been if his power has something to do with like his ability to escape or like his ability to like survive as a demon, then I think it would have been cool to like flash that kind of at the very end, like while he was leaving. I think that like whenever I watch an anime, I hit a certain point in it where it's like I'm like invested in it, but then either like a break is coming up or something like that. Like it's not going to be airing for a while, and it's like I need to be like really convicted, like that I really want to see this show, and like I have a strong desire to like find out what happens for me to be like, oh yeah, like no, I'm definitely gonna watch this like when the next season comes out, and I just don't feel that way because of that ending. I just felt like it was kind of anticlimactic. I felt like if they had flashed something and like just left a little bit more mystery in our heads, um, I would have definitely been like, holy shit, like when I get home tonight, I'm gonna either read the manga or like I can't wait to watch when the next season comes out. And I just personally just don't feel that way right now about Demon Slayer. I did feel that way at the end of the first season going into this movie, but I don't feel that way at the end of this movie going into the next season.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's a lot of holes to poke and a lot of the decision making. I would say for just the villains in general. But kind of setting that aside for like it doesn't really negatively impact my enjoyment of the movie that much. But like yeah, there was some questionable choices. I would just
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
like I said, like
I think
go ahead.
it's so differently structured from normal movies because it's not standalone. So treating it like if this had happened in a show, like that he had showed up and like not had any explanation, like it'd be the same. Would it be the same? Would you guys feel the same, or is it just because it's a movie, it's different, or what?
I mean, I just feel
Well,
like if
I
you're
think that
gonna
it's not.
show a character, you should like reveal information about that character if you're gonna meet them again, right? So that there's like a level of intrigue. And if you don't do that, that's just you're just wasting your own time and you're like
I
hurting
think
the
the main
audience's
level of
view.
intrigue for I think the main level of intrigue for him is like showing up and defeating somebody that we've just seen is so powerful.
I'd say you could do more.
I mean, yeah, you can always do more.
I mean, it's just like when Tanjiro like walks into like the spider place, right? And there's just like webs and shit everywhere, and you're just like, what the hell is going on? Are these spiders or are these demons? And it's like this is the same scenario, but it's just like a vast number of episodes in between instead of like, a couple episodes. Like it's the same
Yeah.
situation. Like give me something to
You know,
latch onto.
I can definitely see that. And I do want to
Yeah.
go back to something a boss said earlier, which I agree with. He mentioned the fact that if this was like I don't know, I don't know exactly how many episodes it would have been for a show, but assuming it'd be the same length, just in episodes, I also agree that I would not have liked it as much. I think
Yeah,
like
I
I feel
agree.
like I would have gotten to a point where I'd be like, oh, we're on the train again, or oh, we're in
Yeah,
Tanjiro's dream again, like. But like the fact that it wasn't a movie and like it was blended together, like I think that really helped it.
100% agree with that for sure. Because it's like, yeah, whenever you're in the same physical location for a long time, that location has to be like pretty interesting
Yeah.
for me to like want to still be there.
Or evolve
And
over time, you know?
yeah, yeah. And like the train, like, it was a train, and it was kind of cool, I guess, that like the train like was the demon at the end, like that it like had a heart or something, and there was like a weak spot, and there was like tentacles and stuff. But I don't know if that would be enough to justify like staying there for like maybe 6 episodes or something. Especially if like there was one episode that was like entirely in dreams, and it's like, okay, we're like we just like didn't really make any progress like getting out of the train. That's why it's just, yeah, much better in a movie
Yeah.
because you kind of see how that makes sense.
Yeah, I one, I mean, I like agree with that so much. Like literally the reason why I enjoy Made in Abyss, and they do the same exact shit. They'll spend like 5, 6 episodes in like the same area, and like I love it because there's so many different creatures and so many different things to
Yeah,
explore.
yeah.
And that's like an example of a show that just does it really well. I like I don't know. I don't even honestly like looking back at it. Like I don't even know how much I enjoyed the train fight. Like okay, like I enjoyed the part where she like tells the kids that are like, I guess they're like homeless or something, or like they have like medical issues, and she's like, your solution to these issues is to like go into these people's dreams and like destroy the core of their dreams, or the core of their souls. That part was pretty interesting to me. But the end fight where he's like, where they're like he keeps falling asleep but then committing suicide to like wake himself up, and then they're like going at it at the core of like where the demon actually is and like attacking that. I was just like, okay, like this guy just like became so OP. Like he just like it was that easy. Once he realized like he can just commit suicide and wake up and not be affected at all by the go to sleep command, like that's it. Like it's over. Like he's just falling down. There's even like a part where like what's the dude's name that has the two swords with the boar head?
Inosuke?
Inosuke. Inosuke's like, hey dude, you gotta be serious now, like we're gonna go attack like the actual demon, like the center of the demon, and like, you can't fall asleep. And like he like says something along those lines, and like it's like you would have maybe hoped to see Tanjiro struggle, but Tanjiro's like, okay, and then they just successfully do it. I don't know. It felt a little like didn't feel spicy enough for me.
Not
But yeah,
spicy enough.
yeah.
I'm down to jump into ratings.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty tired.
Uh,
Sure.
I'm just gonna go first. I would give this movie I would give it an 8. I think this movie is really fun to watch, and like as it becomes available for me to watch it again, and it might even be, I'll probably watch it again the next few months, just because like the animation's sick, and like that's why I'm watching it, and it's pretty funny, like surprisingly funny. I think that Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke are actually pretty hilarious, and that's like one of their strong suits. And there's some holes to poke, especially in the train demon. Both the demons, really, just the demons, kind of a problem. Not really developed, and it's just kind of. I like it when my villains are developed, and they weren't, and wasn't as satisfying for that reason. But they had a lot of ground to cover to develop um, Fireman, Oregano. I think
Reagan.
Rengoku.
Oregano.
and
Ronald Reagan, actually.
so I
Rengoku.
so honestly, I just think there's like some structural issues, like just the design of the movie. I think is a little flawed. It is an arc of an anime, so it's like it's a little different than a normal movie, but it moved a little fast in some spots and moved a little slow in others, especially the ending. Like at the last 15 minutes of the movie when they were just crying, I was like, dude, just end the movie. Like this is so ridiculous. I almost forgot about that, boss. Thank you for bringing that up. So yeah, I mean it's an 8, just because like the animation is like actually insane, and the good parts of this movie were so fun to watch, and there's a good amount of horror in here, which we didn't really talk about, but I like it when my movies are a tad scary. With Tanjiro like seeing his family just like dying and stuff, and like him killing himself, like it's a little spooky, and I kind of like it when my movies are a little spooky. So
I'd probably give it 8.5 to a 9, somewhere in between there. I really like. But I've read the manga, so I've got a different view on certain things, I guess. Um, and I really liked, just, I don't know. I think it just was such a fun thing to watch, like you said, Griffin. Like, just absolute blast to watch. And you guys saw it in IMAX, which must have been pretty fucking sick. You guys said it was extremely loud, but like the sound
It
design, the
was.
movie, the animation, the music, just everything was just out of this world. There was like the weird, some weird CGI with the tentacle stuff, but like I said earlier, it just kind of like doesn't last too long, so didn't bother me too much. Um, like overall, it's not one of my favorite arcs, but like I think they did an absolutely fantastic job at adapting it, and like it definitely got me to care. And I, yeah, I'd say like a 8.5 to a 9. Also, like just some of the more meta stuff we were talking about earlier, like not that it has any impact on my rating, but such a good influence on like going forward in the anime industry. Like seeing the success of an anime movie, like not only in Japan but like internationally, is like pretty cool to see, and I hope it has like a noticeable impact moving forward.
Yeah, I'd probably give this like a 7. I thought it was more or less like playing to same strengths that the series does, um, with like some nuance. Like obviously the animation for like the final fight was really great. Um, Basically like exactly what you'd expect from like a Demon Slayer movie. Um, the villains were I think that they had I think the train one was more interesting on, like, the power front, I guess, even if, like, the actual just because with, like, all the dream shit, but, like, even if the actual, like, fight wasn't that cool and, like, also, like, the motivations were pretty weak. Um, and then, like, the other demon, I would say, like, was just, like, left an impact because it killed one of, like, the top 10, um, demon slayers, so, like, that's, like, wow, pretty strong. Um, but, like, yeah, I mean, what we talked about not really, uh, leaving me with, like, a lot of, like, "Ooh, intrigue." Um, but yeah, I think that where maybe the villains were a little bit weaker than, like, your typical Demon Slayer villain, but like I said, I think that, like, where the movie kinda makes up for that is, like, Rengoku was, like, pretty left a lot of impact, and he, died, which is, like, a pretty big deal, I guess. Um so yeah, probably like a 7. It's like basically like what I was kind of expecting, and it definitely delivered on like the strong points. But yeah, I mean like the I think the biggest thing for me with like the Demon Slayer just in general is the writing is like not great. Like I feel like the characters like are they like serve their purposes, but they're not really like that interesting. And yeah, like I said earlier, I'd kind of like a little bit more. And this movie didn't really change my mind that much, but I still liked it. It still was good shonen stuff. So yeah, like a 7.
Yeah, I, I think my rating falls somewhere in between your guys. Is probably around like a 7.5 to 8, I would say. Mostly it's driven by just having higher expectations than what I saw on the screen. I think like, I'm sure you guys covered this earlier, but cinematically amazing, sound wise, pretty solid. Um, I honestly just think the IMAX may have like hurt that score, like that ranking, because it was
It
like
was
really
too
freaking
loud.
loud for me.
yeah, it was
Like,
really loud.
um, uh, but like overall the soundtrack was still like pretty decent. Uh, I think like getting to see my favorite characters on the screen again, watching some of those fights happen, watching them use their powers. Some of the even just the art, like in the when they were all like sleeping and like those kids are going into their dreams, like that was really stunning. Especially Tanjiro's, I thought that was pretty cool. Uh, but yeah, I like I mentioned before, there were just certain things that I was expecting more from the fights and more from the villains. I watched the show because it's a shonen, and shonens are about those things. Like I'm not really I like there was also like I don't know, like I was also like even expecting a bit more from the emotional aspect of it, and I just felt like it fell just a bit short on all those, which is why I'm rating it 7.5 to 8.
All right.
Okie dokie. If that is it, then follow us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, and all of our names on there are Anime Soirée, except for Twitch. It's NIFFIRG. And yeah, that's our thoughts on the Demon Slayer movie. Pretty good discussion today, fellas. I'm proud of you all. We're signing off. Peace.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.